Hello, I'm Greg Bonk, and today I'd like to talk to you about a program I've developed which is designed to help welcome new families into your troop. The idea really came from my son's transition from a Cub Scout pack to a troop, and I had been Cub Master for a few years, but that really didn't prepare me for understanding the way that a troop works and that the patrol method works, or even really knowing the ranks in a scout troop and so on. It's just human nature that we all forget what it was like to be new, so a lot of people just assume that you know these things or that you'll figure these things out. Personally, I felt that it's a lot more welcoming to actually have something that just briefly describes a lot of these things to a new family, and to actually maybe have a membership coordinator in your troop that will also help to do the same thing. So to begin with, I just want to share my contact information. As I said, my name is Greg Bonk, this is my email address. It's just bonkgr@gmail.com. So if you have questions or even some comments or things that you think maybe should be added to some of these things as we go along, please feel free to write them down and just send me an email. But the first thing that I thought that I really created here was this welcome checklist. And the idea here is just to give you a little bit of a mnemonic device so that a membership coordinator can really kind of have this checklist to make sure you're not forgetting anything. And it's not even so much that you're going to forget things, but it's more just, you're going to be having a conversation with these people, and you're going to be doing the get to know you sort of thing. And if you get sidetracked, this is just a way to help make sure that you didn't forget to mention something. And just briefly going through this, obviously introduce yourself, provide contact information in case someone gets called away, whatever. Introduce your chartering organization. And this was something that, once again, for our troop, I realized a few months later was we were meeting at a moose lodge, or we are still meeting at a moose lodge. I had no idea what the Moose is or does as an organization. I just knew that my son liked the troop and we liked the troop and the people there, and it was a good fit for us. But that really didn't tell me anything at all about the chartering organization. So that includes, the mission statement, rules and policies for troop meetings, if there are areas that are off limits for the scouts, for example, maybe a brief tour of the meeting place, emergency exits, restrooms, that sort of thing. And then the next thing on here is providing parents with a welcome pamphlet and the discipline policy. We've created a welcome pamphlet, which I'm going to share with you in a minute here. And the discipline policy is really just because we've had a few scouts that aren't exhibiting scout-like behavior, shall we say. And then, so go through the pamphlet and the policy, answer any questions. And then the next item on here, explain how the troop communicates with parents and scouts. These days with social media, it's not necessarily just, here's a phone number and what have you. So, and this includes, how we're going to communicate meeting times and announcements, scheduling, during outings and activities. How can we get a hold of you? How can you get a hold of us? In an emergency, how are we going to communicate with you? And of course, how do we use social media as a troop? What are our policies? And this should all also obviously be informed with BSA policy as well. Obtain their contact information. I have space on here for 2 parents and the scout. Discuss expectations for participation. Adult leadership positions, particularly those that the troop may be looking to fill at that moment, is always helpful. But just the idea that, we want these parents, or at least one of them, to really participate in the troop and really take some ownership in the program and help out, even if it's just a little things here and there, maybe small projects or whatever it is. It still spreads that workload out, because we all know that as a volunteer, this isn't your job and you only have so much time for things. So the more people we can get to help out, generally the better things work out. And what the expectations are for our scouts, what our uniform policy is, what equipment and supplies they're going to need, and obviously that's for the particular meeting or outing, and just in general as well. And then financial obligations, obviously, none of this is free. So you want to make sure that new parents understand, how do the scout accounts work? How can they be funded? How can we use those funds? What happens to them when a scout leaves the troop? What does the troop pay for? What are the scout obligations? Are there dues, for example? And fundraising. Now, this document and everything else we go through here are going to be available for you to download online and edit and make them fit your own troop, however you see fit, and change whatever you need to change. They're going to be on our Facebook page. That's the Rainbow Council, both Wapialanaswa and Ishkote Roundtable pages, and there should also be a link somewhere around this video on YouTube once it gets posted. But this is the welcome pamphlet that I mentioned. Obviously, we have a nice little cover here, including the Scout Oath and Scout Law right in the beginning, because let's face it, even if you've been around for a little while, you may not necessarily have everything memorized. A table of contents, and there again, you can include that or not. Welcome letter. This is just really this similar explanation to what I had in the beginning of this video, but make it your own. This for your troop. Make it write your own letter, obviously, or use that one if you like. And then we get to the real content here. A brief explanation of how a scout troop works, youth-led unit, and so on. How the patrol method works, who leads patrols, and that leads into the chain of command for both scout-held positions and adult leaders. The idea being that this will give both parents and the scouts some idea of, if they're coming to a parent with questions, where the parent should send them. Did you check with your patrol leader? Did you check with your assistant senior patrol leader or your senior patrol leader, and so on? The differences between a Cub Scout pack and a scout troop. Obviously, there are quite a few, but the point here is that you have a lot of families who are moving from a parent-led unit to a boy-led unit, which is guided by parents. And understanding how that works and can be a little bit of a challenge, especially at first. And for some parents, this little bit of advice to learn to let go and allowing your scout to make mistakes, that sort of thing can be a challenge for new parents. As we all know, we've all been there. Next we get into an explanation of ranks in Scouting BSA, and a lot of this is taken straight from Scouting BSA's Guide to Advancement. But there again, I think it's a little bit much to expect a new parent to seek out this information on their own. And we can't really just expect them to inherently know these things. So I think it's a good idea to provide them with this information right off the bat. Merit badges. How merit badges work, what's available, where you can find more information about them. And for me, this was a point of confusion as well. Should I be encouraging my scout to be working towards rank or towards merit badges, or both, or how does that work? And how do we find merit badge counselors, and how do they earn merit badges? And once again, a very, very brief explanation. But the idea here is just to give an introduction and allow them to then be able to ask more questions and do a little more research and find out more on their own. Expectations from your troop, and once again, this is all customizable to your own troop, and I'm open to suggestions as well for some of this. But just some things that we expect from parents, very general. Consider participating in the troop. keep your Scouts accounts funded, help and encourage your Scout, and be a good role model. What we expect from Scouts, follow the conduct and disciplinary policy, attend events and meetings, share your ideas. That's always a big thing too with a new Scout, is getting them to be comfortable enough to start sharing their ideas right away, because that's what sort of keeps the troop alive and keeps things flowing. Then we get to the conduct and discipline policy, which is just something that our committee agreed on. It's a part of our bylaws, and we want to make sure that our new Scouts understand what it is and how it works. Finally, we have a new membership program evaluation, and the idea here is that this is an evaluation to be given to the new parents about 3 to 6 months after they join the troop, and it's very simply just a standard survey with and once again, if you feel you need to customize the questions or do anything, this is all available online, and you can edit it and do what you need. And we're also obviously asking for extra and additional comments or concerns on here as well. Now, all of these documents, except for the checklist, but the welcome guide, we have a Spanish version up. Going through here, I don't actually speak Spanish, but my lovely wife was kind enough to translate this for me. And this is exactly the same thing that we showed you in English, and we also have the evaluation in Spanish. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and once again, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for me, let me put my contact information back up. It's right there. And have a great day. Thanks.